The world won't understand you. Hey, but it's okay. Said the world won't understand you. Cause I made you in my own way. Said the world won't understand you. Cause I made you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 96 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's special guest is Marliana Alisemon. Marliana is joining us from Canada, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And she's a worldwide psychic medium. She's also an empath and healer energy worker. She's also a nutritionist. She teaches somatics and breath work. And she also helps with grief work. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Thank you for
Wow.
having me.
No, absolutely. It's my honor. I'm so grateful to have you here. I always like to start with my guests in the beginning. From what I read, you've been a psychic medium since you were young, right? I mean, you probably weren't 100% aware of what it was yet, right? As you were growing up.
No, when you're young and you're seeing images and hearing people in your kitchen, you don't really fully understand it. But it has been a lifelong journey. Absolutely. I've been connected since I was very young.
Oh, wow. And so if you don't mind sharing some of those experiences, what that was like, and also were your parents, were they already aware? Were they accepting of it? Were they able to nurture you through that, or were they just more like, oh, my kid's like crazy over here?
So they were more like my kids crazy over here for sure.
Um,
And in turn, I had to swallow that for a long time because I didn't have that support or acceptance of maybe this could be real for this child.
mm,
But I can remember as early as 4 or 5 years old, and I would hear people at the middle of the night coming up the stairs in the basement, and I could see in my mind's eye skeletons coming down the hallway to my bedroom, and I wouldn't understand. And there would be other nights where there would be people full on cooking and having a meal in our kitchen, and we're all downstairs watching TV. And I'm telling my family, there's people upstairs cooking, and they're going, no, there's not. There's nobody there.
wow.
And it even went into my teenage years as I started rebelling and experimenting with drinking and stuff. There was a night where I was laying on my couch in the basement. I was 14 and I was struggling with friendships and school and everything. And I was really starting to rebel. And I woke up at about 2 a.m. and I looked over at the computer in the corner of the room, and there was a man sitting there who had hung himself. He was sitting there with this noose around his neck. And
Wow.
I didn't understand it at the time. But down the road, as I grew my connection and learned to communicate with spirit or source, I knew that was a message for me, like straighten up,
Oh,
fly straight, stop doing what you're doing.
wow. Were you having those kind of thoughts, or why were they showing you the man with the noose?
I wasn't having those thoughts. I was never in depression, suicide type thing, but I was not going to school. I was hanging out with the wrong people. I was experimenting with drinking,
Mm,
and I was in a situation where my parents weren't parenting me, and I didn't have the stability and the schedule and the routine. So I was all off on my own doing whatever I wanted. And that message was like, you're killing yourself. You're
oh,
hurting yourself. Stop doing what
mm,
you're doing. And of course, because I wasn't understanding and I was drinking and following a negative path at that time, I didn't listen and I didn't understand what the message was until later.
mm. Wow, I love it. I love it already. So, were your family able to hear the noises as well, or you were the only one that was able to hear the noises?
I'm the only one. My two-spirit sister would hear things when she was really young as well, but that really tapered off as she grew up as well. I think she
No.
swallowed it or she just chooses to block it out, but she doesn't have those same connections that I do.
Wow. So at what age did you finally accept and say, okay, I guess I'm a medium or psychic or
It was actually, well, I'm gonna say in my late teens. Um, I had accepted it at that point and I knew what I was, but I wasn't confident enough to give it to people
mm,
or share it with my circle. So in between that time of 14 and say 20, I had gone through everything. I dropped out of school, I was homeless, I was drinking, I had been raped a few times. There was
Mm,
just so much going on with me at that point. Coming into 18, 19, 20, I learned that yes, this is who I am. It's undeniable. I keep seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting things. I know things before they happen. So I had worked on accepting that into my 20s and leading up to the time where I had met my husband. And my husband knew right away that I was a super intuitive person. And he just accepted it, never questioned it. I would tell him things and he'd be like, all right, cool.
is he the
So it was
same?
then that I really began to blossom 26, 27. When I finally had that one person who would support me, I just accelerated.
Wow. No, that's amazing. And so, you said your husband, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So was he as intuitive as well, or he just believed you?
He's super intuitive,
Okay.
more so on the energy work side. So
Okay.
not so much the seeing and the knowing, but the feeling. A super sensitive empath can feel other people's energies and emotions, and can clear energy from other people.
Oh, wow.
So as we were just starting our relationship, he would often do Reiki on me while I was half asleep in bed. And I go, what the heck are you doing? Shoo, get off of me. I didn't fully understand it at that point either. But the more we got together and got closer and closer, the more he shared with me, the more I shared with him, and the more we understood.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
When is your birthday? Because I'm gonna ask you later anyway, so I might as well ask you right now.
I'm a full on Aquarius,
Oh,
February.
February. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm an air sign as well, so I think a lot of air signs we naturally have that ability to see into the,
I'll agree with you.
yeah, for some reason. Yeah. So at your 20s you're already starting to, did your family ever they accepted it too, right? Like once you told them, after they accepted it, or
None of them accepted it. My sister only accepted it here within the last 5 years. She
oh,
opened up
wow.
and said, okay, I think this is who you are. I
Wow.
was like, cool, thank you.
And were you ever showing them along the way that, like, you were telling them, hey, this is gonna happen or this is gonna happen, and were you giving them proof along the way, or?
Not with my mom and dad. My mom actually died when I was 19, 2 days
Oh,
before Christmas in a car accident.
oh, wow.
And my dad, I haven't spoken to him in 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just a toxic negative cycle that I wasn't interested in anymore. So we forgave and closed doors and moved on. So it's just been me and my sister. That's my family, my sister, my husband, my son. Um, and I've given my sister things along the way. As she's gone through her transition as a two-spirit person, I've helped her through energy clearing through her surgeries and through her counseling and stuff like that. So
Mm. And have you been able to connect with your mom since your abilities have grown, or?
I have. I have. I've connected with her, and she is not one who wants to look at what she's done. She very much turns away from me every time I connect with her. I don't want to talk to you. I'm not ready yet. Well, that's fine. You do you.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, that's fascinating. Um, yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, usually, like, when I connect to people on the other side, they're very wanting to mend things with people on this side. Usually it's the people,
Yeah,
like in my experience, it's been the people on this side that aren't ready to heal with the people on the other side. So that's pretty
I hear
interesting.
you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But your mom just doesn't, why is it before you left, before she left, you weren't on good terms then?
We were not on good terms at all. We weren't speaking. We had no relationship. Um, and interestingly enough, about 3 days before she died, I had this innate knowing I need to talk to you. We need to clear the air. And I had called her at about 8 o'clock at night, and her partner had said, no, she's sleeping. You're not allowed to talk to her. And I said, okay, all right. And then 2 days later, she died.
Wow.
Yeah. So it all has purpose. It all happens for a reason. And I'm sure at some point she will see the big picture and come around.
Absolutely. And that was gonna be my next question. I was gonna ask you if you had any premonitions, yeah, of before she passed. And I mean, even like if you felt like now in hindsight that even the abuse you suffered through, if they were trying to warn you even with that, like since you already were psychic, if you had any kind of warnings.
You know, being a young kid and in fight or flight and having a mom who had partner after partner coming through the house and having those partners touching you and hurting you and having your mom not believing you and just a whole bunch, I wasn't listening, friend.
Mm,
I was just trying to survive, going to school, being bullied, and then being bullied at home and touched and everything else. It was like, shut down. So I did not listen or hear for quite a while. There would be moments in the quiet where, like I said, late at night, I would get those things trickling in, or if I was downstairs with my sister, I could hear things. But overall, I wasn't getting messages and I wasn't getting warnings at all.
mm.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but I feel like when you're in fight or flight and you're scared, fear is a huge block.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, just because, I mean, obviously, right? Like the same things that I experience, there's some really strong things that I experienced that looking back, I always say, oh, why didn't you warn me? But if I really look carefully, I see that there were warnings. That's why I'm just curious if, of
Yeah.
course, like you said, I didn't listen, but, you know, sometimes looking back, I'm like, oh, wow, there really was some kind of a warning. Even if it was just a feeling like, you know what, I shouldn't go out tonight, something like that. And,
Yeah.
yeah. Once,
Yeah. And more than once, I would have those feelings, even as, 16, 17. I had found my apartment downtown. I was no longer homeless and I found a job and everything was turning up. But I would find these friends and we would go out and I would have these feelings constantly like, you shouldn't be out, you need to go home, you can't do this. And more often than not, when I don't listen, things yard sale. They would turn into tension and upset and conflict and issues, right? So learning to listen to those signs is a big
yeah.
thing.
No, absolutely. So then let's lead into what made you finally like, so your partner was helping you, reinforcing your gifts, I guess in a way nurturing them because
Yes.
it's believing you. So from that point on, is that when at what point did you start saying, okay, you know what? I kind of want to look at doing this as a career, or how did that happen?
So as we flowed through our relationship, we ended up getting pregnant, getting married all within like this 2 year circle. It
Oh,
was
wow.
just a whirlwind. And so after the pregnancy, we ended up having this terrible car accident
Mm,
about 5 years ago now. It'll be 6 years in August, actually. So it's been a while. And it ripped me apart physically, emotionally, mentally, and it all had purpose
mm.
because it was that time that I used to heal, recover, release, let go, and open my gifts in a way that have never been opened before. So it has been this incredible journey. I know this car accident happened for a very specific reason, still dealing with the issues from it, but it's allowed me to heal in a way I've never been able to heal before, and it's allowed me to step out on a global stage with absolute confidence.
What do you mind sharing about that? Like, in what way did this lead you to stepping on a global stage?
Sure. So after the car accident, I'd say about 2 years after, I had stumbled across a massage therapist who also did Reiki.
Mm,
She was super intuitive, and I didn't know it at the time. But as I worked with her and we had 2 or 3 sessions, she would start doing this energy work on me. And she would give me bits of information about myself that I already knew. It was past things, but it was confirmation. I'm going, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And I could see colors in my eyes as she was working on me. So I could tell which chakras were being worked on and so forth, which was interesting. And she had said, okay, I need you to go see somebody. This is time. Her name is Sheska. She's at this place. She will help you. And I'm going, okay, I'm going to trust it. I'm going to put my neck out and see what happens. So I went over and I saw Sheska, and she did what she calls a chakra activation. for me. So she aligned them all. We had this 2-hour session. We had this reading. My mom did come in and we had a whole bunch to talk about there.
Mm.
And she still turned away and walked away after that. She was not ready to let things go, which is cool. All
Yeah.
her, not me. But in that session, I was told that this is who you are. These are your gifts. I'm like, I know that. And I was asked to do it on a global stage. I'm going, okay, those are big shoes. But for the first time in my life, I didn't have fear with it. So she
Mm.
also told me I had an angel vibration. I'm going, cool, yay. I like that. Wings. And I would go and I would come back and I would see her and we have these sessions again. And it had come to light that I'm actually a seraphim. And I'm going, okay, we'll see. Those are big shoes. I'm going to sit with this and see what comes from it. And she told me I was one of 5 seraphims here in the world doing the work that I'm doing. And I'm going, okay, all right. I'm going to sit with this and just see if there's signs. So I left the clinic that day and I got in my car and I was pulling out from the parking spot. And about 5 car lengths down, there was this big white truck pulling out at the same time. And we were both going the same way. So their back end was right in my face. And the license plate said 5 angels. Not shitting you. I'm going,
Wow.
oh my God, could that be a sign of your sign?
Wow.
I was like, okay, there's a flavor of truth to what I'm being told here. This is a very big, clear sign for me. So then Sheska goes, I have somebody I need you to meet. Well, okay, we're progressing on this journey. Let's see where it takes me.
Mm.
So she introduced me to this 77-year-old man who lives in rural Alberta, Canada, total redneck, huge sweetheart, very firm. He's a shamanic healer.
Mm.
And so I meet this guy. His name is Doug. Very cool guy, very firm, very cowboy. And he helps me to clear a bunch of past trauma. We go through things, we pull out certain points in my life and we take it out. We've gone through past life trauma. I go through a whole period of practicing my gifts on my own, and I would come to him for confirmation on things.
Mm.
And as that progressed, eventually it went from him being up here and me being down here to a little bit of a reversal. I was up here and he was down here, and I was starting to teach him things.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
as journeys go, when the purpose is done, we tend to part ways. So I had parted ways with Sheska very amicably and beautifully. I had parted ways with Doug as well, very amicably and beautifully. And by that time, my connection was so strong. I was talking directly with spirit like we were best friends. I would sit outside and we would have conversations, and I would have visuals of him hugging me, and we would play baseball together. And there was just so much constantly coming in from spirit, God, source, whatever you want to call them. But we formed this very strong bond. And he asked me himself, you got to do this on a global stage. Are you ready? And I said, yes, I am. Let's do this. And I have not looked back.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, no, I resonated a lot with that, like, and the same, right? Sometimes I don't know what, because I think everyone wants to call something different, right? So I just say, yeah, I always, but I guess since I was little, right, it was like that, like my BFF was God or whoever, however you want to
Yes.
call it, yeah. And so in what way did you step on the global stage? Through the internet, or you actually started going out and doing talks, or how did it go?
So I started actually just very small.
Mm-hmm.
In Canada, we have something called Kijiji. It's kind of like Craigslist, but not as shady.
Ah,
It's like a buy and sell trade thing in
uh-huh.
Canada. It's not like the other stuff. So I would post these ads on Kijiji in the entertainment section. I'm offering free readings. I am
Oh.
practicing my gift. So I spent a good 6 months to a year almost practicing my gift, and I would offer readings and people would tip or donate or offer reviews for me as needed. And great, all of a sudden I was told, you can charge now. Let's step forward. Okay.
Ah, okay.
So then I was encouraged to make a website. to have a social media following, to start a podcast,
Oh, okay.
to
You have
do
a
so
podcast. Yeah.
much. Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So I've been following and listening very closely. So it started with free readings to tip or donation readings to then stepping onto social media. And with Facebook, you can get on these spiritual groups around the globe, right?
Mm.
So I jumped on all of them and I just started posting, ask for a reading. This is who I am. I introduced myself. I'm directly connected to God. This is how we speak. This is what comes from your reading. And I started doing readings in Nigeria, Australia, Texas, like across the globe, all over the place.
Ah, wow.
And the mirror coming back was so incredible and so positive. And it wasn't only readings I was doing psychic surgery, I was doing energy work, the whole nine. And
Wow.
so I was doing this on a global scale. And then as I got my website up and as I started doing expos and markets across the country, things have just kept progressing for me. So now I have this podcast and now I have tours across Canada.
Oh,
I
wow.
hope to go down to the States here soon and do some of that as well. Yeah, it's been crazy, man.
Wow. No, no, I love it. I love the
Thank
journey
you.
because I relate to so much of it, right? Let me ask you about the psychic surgery. Things that you've done with the psychic surgery, how much feedback have you gotten? Like how successful has it been or
The feedback that I've gotten has been incredibly impossible, let's say.
mm,
So the first woman that I ever did this for at a distance lived in New York, New York, New York. And I was just talking with her over the phone. I couldn't see her on Zoom. We were just talking. And I said, "You've got gray sweatpants on, you've got a light colored hair with gray in it, and you've got this like pinky-ish top on." And she goes, "How do you see me?" And I said, "I just see you. I see you and I see you sitting on your couch. Can you lay down for me?"
mm.
And she said, "Okay." And I just intuitively started pulling from where I was told she needed it. And as I was doing it, she was going, "I'm crying and I don't know why." And I said, "It's release. Trust yourself. Just let yourself cry." And she goes, "I can feel you pulling from my heart. I can feel you pulling from my stomach." And I said, "Yes, that's where I'm pulling from right now." And then I said, "This is your daughter. This is what she's wearing. And she's got something in her solar that needs to be removed too." And she goes, "How are you doing this?" And I said, "I just am." And I pulled from her daughter as well. Her daughter flipped from colicky, crying, screaming, unmanageable to this beautiful, smiley, happy kid that was always there.
Yeah.
And this woman said, "You've changed my life. I don't feel like I have this heavy cloud over me anymore. My stomach pains have gone away. Doors have opened for me. Now I'm being offered jobs. Money's coming in." And I said, "I couldn't be happier for you. Like, way to go."
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
this has happened time and time again.
So
They
when
just
you
keep
do
coming back to me.
no, no, that's beautiful. So when you do the psychic surgery, because I had heard about it before, and at the time, I mean, I had experienced just about everything you could imagine spiritually, right? But I had never heard of psychic surgery. So when I first heard it, I believed, but I just had never experienced it. So I was like, I guess not skeptical. I really can't say I was skeptical, but I was just like, wow, hesitant. There we go. That's the
Hesitant. There you
hesitant.
go.
Hesitant to try it on me. I was hesitant to try. Well, also that when they offered it to me, they said like I would have to stay somewhere away from home, right? So it was I was like, I don't have that time right now to commit to being somewhere else and
Hmm.
this and that, right? Because I've had now for almost like 2 years this sciatic nerve problem, right? And
Mm.
and for me it was like, well, the physical part of it, it made sense why I got it, but to me, I always felt like there was a spiritual component as well, right? And
Yeah.
I've gotten healings, like intuitive healings from a distance where it got better, but then it's still there. Like it'll come back and get inflamed again. So
Right.
in those kind of situations, like, do you feel like you would be able to relieve that, like the things like with the sciatic nerve? Yeah, because hey, if I if we're talking
Uh,
about that.
I always tell people I'm not curing cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
Just gonna say that, not a doctor, not curing cancer, but I always do my best for you.
Wow.
So in looking at you, my friend, what I'm seeing is almost like a nerve root impingement.
Mm.
Um, also almost like a hook. Interesting. What are you holding on to emotionally?
You know, someone told me that recently that they saw something like a hook. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, probably like what haven't I gone through? See the same, like right? Like I always try to cure or release things, right? Whether in ceremony, just on my own, like I'm always trying to release things. So even my brother, right? He passed away in 2019, and I feel like after 5 years, like I've healed from that, right? So I don't know if it's something to do with his passing. I don't know if it has to do with different things that I've been through. You know what I mean? Like those kind of like
Yeah.
traumas, like the same thing, like heavy stuff that I went through growing up. And so I want to know. I don't know. Like I thought I knew. You know?
Well, that's just it. Sometimes we don't get the whole picture. Sometimes we think we know and we're on the spiral, and then we come to a different perspective and go, "Oh shit, we didn't know."
Mm.
Um, uh, I'm looking. Sorry,
No,
I'm
no,
looking at your
I'm
SI joint now.
I'm letting you look.
Yeah, it's a hook, and what I keep hearing is anger. What are you angry with?
Wow, what wasn't I angry with?
There you go. Exactly. You and me both.
Well, let me tell you this. When it started, it was like during the pandemic. Then I'll just be blunt with you about when it started, right? I had what I thought was a dream job, and then from there, I had to do something else because during the pandemic when they were forcing people to get the vaccine, and I had visions to not get it, right? So to me, it's like when they tell like that, I learned my lesson. So when they tell me now, I'll listen. I don't care. The world could be falling, the sky could be falling. If they told me to stand still, I'm gonna stand firm. And they better,
Yep.
yeah, they better help me because they told me to, right? So
Yeah.
usually I get one vision. This time I was given three visions. Don't get it, don't get it, don't get it. Cool. And now in hindsight, they were right. I was good, right?
Yep.
I was good not getting it, everything. But during that time, I had to do other work. So I started doing like the Uber deliveries. So I don't know if I did it for a year. I would work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week because everything was unsure, right? I don't know. Like, what if then they even take it away from this and then I can't do this without getting the vaccine and they told me not to get it? What? So I was stressed out during that time. I I even kind of got excommunicated from my community I was a part of. It was like where I used to go to ceremony. It was like, oh no, you're not welcome here if you don't get the thing. I actually, yeah, I was heartbroken about. I've never felt that kind of heartbreak from that. So I mean, I felt more heartbroken than angry, but I don't know. See that I'm sharing that because it's like, was I angry about that feeling like that's a spiritual community? How could you not understand when I'm telling you that I'm getting these visions, like, like that, right? And so that, right, like being shunned from that, be like losing everything, but everybody else was going through it, so I wasn't like, not everybody, but the people that's the
Yeah.
same drew the line in the sand and were like, I'm not gonna do it either, right? Even if I lose everything. So that's when it started hurting. That, I guess, and that's what someone else said that they saw, that they said I felt like unsupported, right? That was part of it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
feeling that unsupport, um, and since then it was kind of like crawling back. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm still. I don't feel like I'm angry from that. It just never went away after that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So you're gonna have to let me know like later today or tomorrow if that pain's gone away because I have attempted to remove the hook and solidify
Mm,
your hip.
wow. Okay.
So just let me know.
Absolutely, I will. And you think that was because after two, I started getting pain up in my shoulder. So you think the whole thing was connected, like the nerve
Yes.
just going? Yeah, right.
Yep.
When you
Yep.
right now when
It's
you were
all connected.
okay, because when I was telling you about it and I started feeling it up here. like on my shoulder. Like I was feeling like this pull on my shoulder. So I don't know if it was all connected, like from the sciatic nerve all the way to the top.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Is it still pulling?
No, I mean it kind of feels a little hot underneath the sciatic nerve, but so I don't know if it's gonna go away. Where right now I'm feeling the heat. Like that's kind of how it feels when it gets flared up. So I don't
Yeah,
know if that's just like momentarily and then after it goes away or whatever, But
absolutely.
okay, but
Bodies will always adjust to find their like homeostasis, right?
yeah.
Um,
So those wow. I mean, there were a lot of there was like relationship stuff too, right? Things like that, hurts
mhm,
from things like that. Like so there was
mhm.
just a lot of stuff that happened all at once, right?
And your
Um
pelvic floor, your pelvis is the emotional center for you. That's where we hold a lot of pain and burden and fear and mistrust. And that's what can cause a lot of pain in our hips and our small back is holding on to those emotions.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So yeah. No, definitely I'll even, if it relieves it, I'll shout it from the mountaintops and say, "Oh,
Perfect.
Marliana is like, the real deal." So
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, no, yeah. I was curious because yeah, I've where it momentarily gets relieved and then it comes back and this and that. So that's been a thing.
Yeah.
And I've always heard like some spirit, however, telling me, "Oh, it's gonna get better." But then it's always been like a when. Like and the same, like how you said, when with your car accident, it caused like it was one of the biggest growth times for you.
Absolutely. And it also resulted in sciatic protrusions all up my spine, severe
Oh.
stenosis of the spine, cracked facet joints, the whole nine.
So how did you heal from that? Just yourself? You healed yourself or?
Uh, Years of physiotherapy, chiropractor, massage. I'm actually admitted into the chronic pain center here in Calgary, Alberta. Like I'm doing a whole bunch for myself, but it's also the inner work, letting go. Oh my God, let go of that anger towards the guy who hit me, letting go of the anger towards my family, just constantly letting go. It's such a balance of holding on and letting go in this life. You got to kind of figure out what to hold on to and what to let go of. And I'm finding as I come closer to alignment with the things I'm letting go, there's less pain.
Wow. Wow. No, no, that's amazing. Yeah, no, so
Yeah,
sorry for taking us down that little side road. Um, yeah, yeah, because I want to hear about
it was
more
a good
about.
road.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm very appreciative of you taking that little detour with me. So thank you so much. No, no, I'm really so back to the being able to connect with those on like a global scale. Are there any other things that jump out at you from this journey? Like any other people that you've connected with that were like some experiences that were just mind blowing that you want to share?
I've had many big and small experiences where you think they're extremely impossible and how did I do this to smaller ones. A good example of a small one that maybe wasn't so positive for the person on the other end of the phone was a young single mom who had called me from Nigeria.
Oh wow.
And she had kids ranging from 8 years old to 16 years old, all boys. And she let them run. There was no boundaries, rules, schedule, routine. And they were hitting her, yelling at her, forcing her to do everything. And she wasn't standing up for herself.
Wow.
So she calls me in tears, going, I don't know what to do. How am I supposed to fix this? So the guidance given was kind of a slap on the hand a little bit. Like you need to give them routine, you need to give them schedule, you need to hold boundaries. If they're going to hit you and be rude to you, they don't get your bank card to go to the store with.
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
um, it was very much like a mom needs to grow up so the kids can grow up in a healthy way, and mom hung up on me.
Wow.
They're not always they're not always love and light and positive, right? And the readings from myself personally, I read your energy, and then anybody who's threaded to that, so your kids, your family, friends, etc. And then that guidance coming from spirit source, God, is directed based on that. So sometimes it is a slap on the hand coming from me because
Mm.
you're not in alignment with your true self, with your soul's path and purpose and what you should be doing. I always come at it with the best of intentions and energy, but some people aren't ready to hear what you have to say. So it's not always a positive experience.
No,
But
absolutely.
there's other really super positive ones. Like there was this other lady who called me from Nigeria. I read her family, her kids, everything. I gave her guidance on what needs to happen, and we've actually stayed in touch.
No.
I've done energy work for her and her family. She said that it's been immeasurable, the support and the help that I've offered her. And she calls me from time to time just to talk. I'm one of her spiritual friends, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's beautiful. Have you been able to see any past lives of yourself as well, or?
Yes, so many. And I'm
Mm.
tired of being killed for my beliefs, okay? So, and through my meditations is normally where I will see these past life things come into play. Um, Spirit will often show me images of home. So, what heaven, what home looks like. And it's literally just the stars, it's the pillars of creation, it's these beautiful nebulas. I keep being shown home, but I'll also be shown past lives for myself, which is interesting as all heck because I will be in meditation and all of a sudden it will open up and I am being forcefully pushed down these stairs. It's all brick, and there's these big flaming torches on the wall. So think about that era.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I'm
absolutely.
being led to a chamber where I am being beheaded for my beliefs.
Mm.
I've also been burned at the stake. I've been a witch. I've also been a part of Cleopatra's royalty. So
Mm.
there's been many situations. I've been a Buddhist monk. I've seen that. And I think that's why I resonate so closely with the Buddhist um, life culture. I don't even want to call it religion because it's not really a religion,
Yeah.
but it's a very culture and community focused belief system. And I resonate very closely with it. So when I saw that for myself, I was like, that makes sense. It's a remembering for me. But yeah, I've seen 4 or 5 of my lifetimes, but I know I've been here more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're
What about
shown,
you?
huh?
What about you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had a lot of like native ones, right? Like a ton of native
Cool.
ones.
Yeah.
Um, the Egypt one, that one, like I guess others saw it for me, but I had already seen it as well. I was some kind of like I don't know if healer, but I guess that's what like it was like if people were lined up like lines and lines to come see me. So I don't know if it was like a healer or more like I don't know. Someone said that they saw me. It looked like if I was like some kind of pharaoh, but I know it wasn't a pharaoh. It was more like that, maybe like in a spiritual context, right? Like that,
Yep.
like a high priest or something. Do you see that as well?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
okay.
Yep. I do. So I actually see you as a healer fortune teller.
Oh,
That's the lineup. The
in those
healing, the
times.
fortune telling.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because once when I was young, like I think I was still a teenager. I went with, I think I was with, I don't know, we were like at Chuck E. Cheese or something like that, right? With this girlfriend I had somewhere, and there was a fortune teller, and then out of all things, his name was Omar, and I was like, what? Like that was so weird. He had the little turban, and it
Little
was
on the nose for you.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know. Usually they have these other names like oh something, whatever. But
Yep.
this mystic fortune teller was like his name was Omar, and I was like, huh. Yeah, see, even my head's doing the little tingly thing right now. Like I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So it was funny, but yeah, the same. I have a friend that's a psychic and I don't know if I was like the witch, but it was like um, I clearly had like my wife and kid murdered. Oh, when she told me that. I had the chills, like the most painful chills I've ever gotten when she told. It resonated so much. Um, and it's like, I do acting, right? And so one day I auditioned for that, and they were like, "Oh, pretend like your wife and your child died." And I was crying so, like, usually they'll be like, "Oh, let's see, do another take or something." And when I stopped like crying, I looked up, they were just like, "We're not gonna ask you to do that." And like I couldn't stop shaking for like over 10. I was driving and I was praying, like, I don't want that, like I hope I don't get that part. Yeah, I
Wow.
was like, don't give me that part. I don't want that part. And it was like
No.
yeah, yeah. So I was like crying, like if I was holding my baby, and it was so real to me. And then like if my wife died giving birth, but then my baby was born dead too. And then when she told me that, it took me back to, I was like, that's why it wasn't like I was able to act it out because I've lived it in some experience, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That
yeah,
was a whole, like, let's put you through some torture here and make you relive things. Not cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Do you see anything that when I say that? Because I don't know if I was a witch as well in that life, or if it was just that my wife was. Because it was almost like, I guess, if I was one of the ones that was protecting the witches, so I don't know if in see, I got the chills for saying, like, right when I said that. So it was like
Hmm.
if maybe to punish me for protecting them, my wife was a witch too, and then they murdered her and my child, and I guess probably me too as well. That's kind of what I get.
So, what else do you get with this? Because I'm actually seeing fire, one. Two, I do see you standing in front of people with almost like, I don't know if it's a staff or if it's this giant sword thing. I'm not sure. It's not clear, but I do see you standing in front of them. And I'm actually seeing your wife behind you, and she's creating almost like salves and herbs and stuff. So that to me says witch, right? We know now that we're just naturally healing people through the power of Mother Earth through plants, but
Mm.
then that wasn't the case. That was taboo witchcraft, right? So yeah, I'm actually seeing her doing that. Um, and your baby was just wildly out of control, screaming and unhappy. And you were the first to go. Then it was your wife, and then it was your child
So they killed me first. Wow.
to get to the people behind you.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny because when I turned 18 too, like I had been in this car accident, right? I have like this car from this car accident, and I went up like we went on a family vacation, and there was this store, and for some reason I have this staff that I bought when I was like from my money with my car accident, and I don't know why it called to me, but it's a staff, like it's a medicine staff. It's a medicine staff, a native medicine staff that I've had since I was like 18 years old. Yeah. And it was handmade like by a native man, right? And it has like, and all these are all animals that have came in my life, right? It has the coyote skull, it has like a deer vertebrae. They're all animals that are like more like totems to me than spirit animals. You know how they say but these are
Yeah.
with me. Like, yeah, they like, like I've been where there's like a whole pack of coyotes and they won't harm me, and where people are like, "Oh, we were attacked by coyotes and this and that." But to me, I'll be right there, like all the way inside, like, the woods or something, like, and they'll never harm me. They look at me and then they just, like almost like saying hello, but then they go on there. So I'm never afraid of them. But yeah, it's funny that staff called to me and how you said, like, there's always this kind of thing with the staff, right? There's always,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I guess in all the lives, like I always had like some some
Literally.
yeah. That's amazing. Wow. So they see, so okay, so you've relived. Why do we keep reliving these kind of experiences then? Why, like, why what is it? Are we supposed to figure something out, or what is
You mean like reliving our past life experiences?
like something like that, right? So in another life, like how you said you were killed as a witch, and then
Yes.
in this life, of course, you wait, like you're psychic again, right? Clearly we're not being persecuted in the same way in this life, but why choose? Or is it we can't help it, like if we're like already spiritual and another, we're just going to be incarnated spiritual in this one? Or why do you think that happens?
I truly believe from what I've been told that we choose it. We
Oh,
choose our
okay.
experiences, we choose the people we come with, we choose the good and the bad, our exit points along the way, we choose it all.
Hmm.
It's like this big floor to ceiling menu of every human experience you can possibly have, up to and including cannibalism, serial killer, etc., etc. And we come back in lifetimes because we can't have every human experience in one go.
Hmm.
And if we don't learn from our experiences, we cycle in them. Even in the same lifetime, we will cycle in them, but with different people, different situations, but same lesson
Ah.
until we learn them.
So what would be the lesson in being a cannibal, serial killer, all that stuff?
It's for the experience. You have
Mm.
to go through every human experience you can possibly have before we can move on to the next step.
Mm. Do you feel like this is your final stop in, or do you?
No, I've already signed a contract to come back and I'm tired.
So
I
why
would
would
like
you?
to just stay at home, but I can clearly see the contract I've already signed up to come back. So,
So why do you think you did that?
because I am very loyal to God, Spirit, Source, and I have told him that I would be here as many times as I need to be for him.
Wow. Okay,
So here I am.
you're hardcore then, because I feel like this is my last time being here.
I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's
I
funny
don't
though? Go ahead, go ahead.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, yeah. No, like one time, and I was awake, like, and I had a vision of like well, I've seen a vision of me like getting in a spaceship and leaving. So I was like, oh, like I'm always waiting for that, right? But I was awake when that happened. I just saw myself like, and I was like, whoa. And I almost got caught. It was the craziest thing. Right after I went on Instagram and a friend had sent me some joke of like someone like getting in a spaceship. I was like, so I was even like, I hope that's not that my vision wasn't like that he was gonna send me that and it was confirmation, right? I was like, because sometimes it is like that, right? Either it was a premonition of that, or it was confirmation, like how you said the five angels, and then you saw the five angels. You see, so that's why I was like, okay, I hope that was my confirmation, and it's not just like, oh, that was a premonition. You know what I mean?
No, total confirmation, some synchronicity there. What I keep hearing as you're talking about it are the Palladians.
Yeah. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
That's what I'm hearing, the Palladians, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just on a loop. Do you know Palladians, Arcturians?
Yeah, yeah. The Palladians are
Yeah.
the ones that they came to me when my brother um took his life, because my brother took his life. That's how he went, right? And so
Yeah.
when
I'm sorry,
he,
love.
yeah, no, no, thank you, thank you. When that happened, that's when one of the biggest awakenings, right? That was in 2019, and then so they came to me because I went to a dark place. So I was like, oh, I was gonna do it too, but then they came to me and they showed me how we had agreed to it. So that's the first time I was shown the contracts and this and that. And they
Yeah.
showed me that, yeah, that we had agreed to it. So I was like, what? And then I wrote a whole book. They showed me physical proof. So I know a lot of times people have to take someone's word for it, but I was able to show this whole book about how all throughout my life there were like the sign. Yeah, yeah. So it shows like you can't, it's undeniable unless you're just hard-headed and you're just like, oh, I don't believe in it, and that's it. But the book shows how there's been these signs through my whole life that it was already pre-planned, right? Like my life was
Yes.
pre-planned for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's why sometimes when I go through things, I'm like, did I really choose that? Like, that's who does that? Like, is that right? Like,
I love that everything I'm giving you, you can pinpoint it for me. You're like, the savages keep coming up. The Palladians, they came when my brother died. The Palladians, that vision of you going home with them, I think that is something that's coming with an exit point. Yes, it is what I hear.
oh,
So
okay.
when it comes time for you to go home, my friend, you're going to be picked up. There's no waiting. There's no sitting here going, okay, I'm a ghost. Where am I going?
Yeah.
You're being picked up and you're going home. This is personal.
Wow. Oh man. Okay, that made me emotional for some reason.
It's a truth your soul knows, babe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And see, I almost feel like there's always been this connection to like biblical things, like the way they say, I mean, in the Bible, they say only two people were taken like that. Like
Mm,
that didn't even die, right? They just took them. And that's how I feel like I've always,
yes.
yeah. Cause that's kind of the vision I got, like, boom, like,
So one of the images, the visions that I got through meditation, it opened up randomly mid-meditation, and I got the view of me behind Jesus on the cross, and he was looking up at me, and there was 3 other angels around, and we all took him home.
wow.
And I'm going, this is impossible. I get out of this meditation, I'm going, I literally saw Jesus and I saw him and I took him home, and I'm going, okay, this is very cool and very surreal, and I need to sit with it. But yep.
Wow. No, that's
He was one
amazing.
who was taken right home. He did not wait.
Yeah. But see, like, wow, the sad part was, like, so in his case, he did have to go through the brutal
Yes.
exit point. I'm
Yes.
hoping, because
And
I didn't see that. Maybe because I have been through it. Maybe because, like how you said, even in that, where you said you see fire and they had to get me first to get to,
yep,
you know,
you
uh,
sacrificed yourself for the service. Does that
mm,
make sense?
yeah, absolutely.
Because everybody who's on this spiritual path is in a level of service.
Mm,
You sacrificed yourself just as he did for the rest of us.
mm.
It's commendable, man. Thanks.
No, thank you. I mean, you probably have done it as well. I mean, to be right, like,
Yep.
uh, to have been a seraphim, even, right? Seraphim are
Yeah,
angels that are in service, right?
absolutely. And there's many different forms of angels, and they're here, they're at home, they're everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, where do we? I know we went all over. I love this conversation though. No, thank you so much for. I, I had a good feeling before I interviewed you, and it's kind of gone, right? Like in the beginning, I had all these little technical things, and so I'm jumping all over the place, and it almost feels like that's the way we've gone. But it's been more of a conversation than just like an interview, and so
Yes.
yeah, I'm really grateful for that. So thank you. Like, I really mean that. Um,
Anytime, my friend.
yeah.
And the technical stuff, oh my God, Mercury can fuck off at any time.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
just get out of retrograde, let things calm down, please. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's no, and that's why I don't even take things personal. Like, I've already had that with, like, even me interviews that I was supposed to do. Oh, I forgot. I thought it was another day or this or that, or someone like,
Ugh,
or scheduling an interview, then canceling at me, like, the last minute. So it's been a few. So if anyone listens to it, I'm not singling you out. It's been, believe me, it's been quite a few. So I'm not singling like one person out. Like, yeah.
you are not the only one, my friend. I've double booked, I've forgotten. Like this past week, it's just been a mess.
Wow.
And every night I'm very grateful for my bed. Like, just put me to bed.
Yeah. That's so funny because I've been going. Has this? I know there's a Scorpio full moon coming up tonight or tomorrow. I think it's
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. So has that, because I've been feeling super exhausted lately, even dizzy, lightheaded, and I'm like, and yeah, I feel like it's just the moon, but I was like, there's nothing wrong with me, is there? Because I feel like it's gonna pass once the moon goes, but I've just been like really exhausted and stuff lately.
It will pass. On top of the full moon coming, we're in eclipse season. So, over the past couple of days, Jupiter conjunct Uranus, which is a very big eclipse energy.
Mm.
So, we've been going through it. A lot of darkness is being pulled up in ourselves and in the world around us. I don't know if you can feel that chaos and negativity, but there's a lot of like chest tightening anxiety and agitation and just wanting to scream and like, "Ugh," the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this moon is a big player in that. So hopefully, as we start coming out of it and dissipate, things will level out. But it has been a roller coaster since eclipse season started.
Wow. And then I mean, it comes back at the end of the year, right? The eclipse season
Oh
again.
God, yep.
And
Good
it's
luck.
funny, huh?
Good luck.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's like the more, I guess, tapped in you get, the more you feel the energies as well, right?
Yes. Absolutely. And I always tell people it is what is intended for you. You could be the most tapped in tune person and not feel an entire moon cycle. You'll be
Oh,
fine. It's
wow.
what's intended for you.
Mm,
So, all in divine timing, you're going to feel those intense moon cycles and have things come up and clear and release and let go. It's
wow.
all in divine timing. And I'll tell you, this cycle has just been a doozy for me.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, I've been feeling it, but it's been a little confusing. I've even felt a little disconnected from.
Yes.
Oh, you have too?
Yes. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
not that we're disconnected, it's the chaos of the energy is
Ah,
blurring it.
wow.
You are not disconnected, my friend.
Okay. Okay. So since you mentioned it, let's talk a little bit about your podcast. Like, how long have you been doing it? I don't know how much time you have, so please let me know if you know we're running short on time. But
Sure.
if
No, I'm
not,
good.
okay. But if
I'm
yeah,
good.
I would love to hear about your podcast, like how long you've done it and all that good stuff.
I actually just launched it this year. I'm
Oh, okay.
only on my 10th episode,
Oh, wow.
but it's going well. It's very much like this. It's episodic. It's not every week. It's marked explicit.
Oh, okay.
And it is, yeah, well, it's called the spiritual safe house. So I want it to be explicit so people can really be authentically sharing,
Mm,
whether that's swearing, um, you know, wearing whatever type of clothing they want to wear. It's a place where you can feel safe and be vulnerable without judgment, expectation, or reaction. So it's been pretty incredible. I've had some beautiful people on there. The last one that was on there was the founder of the Alberta Witches Association, Miss Amy Clark. She was great. And I just keep looking for more people.
wow. Well, yeah. I mean, if you ever need, I'd love to be on if you ever.
Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, whenever, and yeah, I'll be an open book, just like how you've been so gracious, to me here. So
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Anything you want to ask me, anything, you know, I'll be more than.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm grateful and I would like to stay in touch with you. This is a great connection.
no, absolutely, absolutely. No, I feel like there were so many little chill moments. The yeah, like even to make me emotional, I was like, okay. I was like, oh man, here we go. There's only been like a handful of interviews I did that. Go ahead, go ahead.
Friend, everybody I talk to is emotional.
Oh wow.
It just comes with my energy. People cry at me. People just emotional. And that's
Wow. So
okay.
you're good at connecting with that then.
Very much so.
Wow. That's amazing. So yeah,
Thanks.
you're natural then at the podcasting.
Yeah, yeah, I am. People keep telling me I'm a natural at it. And I
Yeah.
think I'm like you. I've had to teach myself how to, do it all and figure it all out and computer stuff and how to get it all on the podcast streaming platforms. And it's been a bit of a chug, but it's going well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm definitely gonna check out some of your episodes. And yeah, let me know whenever you wanna do it, we'll do that. I'll be on
I'm
there.
very excited. And you said
Absolutely.
you'd written a book, right?
Yes, yes.
You got to share that with me. Share the name so I can go find it, read it.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's called 216 and the Secrets of the Universe.
216 and the Secrets of the Universe.
Yeah, that's the day
I
that my
like it.
brother, yeah, that's the day that my brother passed. So yeah, that's how it all began. That's when the Pleiadians came and all that. Let me ask you this. Let's see if you get anything with this, because the main one that was coming, like I always call her my star wife. And I was like, why? Even if she isn't like that's it. I claimed it. So whether she likes it,
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah. Do you feel anything when I say that? Because I've always wondered, like, I wonder. It was funny too, because she came and she was like she had a crown, right? She was wearing like a crown. And when she came, it was her with like three males, but she was the one that came. Like you could tell she had the authority, right? Like she was the one that was in charge, and so she came, and she's the one we communicate telepathically. We were communicating telepathically and everything, and yeah, she's been around. Like she's came around a few times already. I mean, I woke up once, even that. There was someone looking at me through a portal, but they were a whole different being. It was like they were like a Syrian being, how you said Syrians. Yeah, that one was a Syrian, but it was the same. It was a female, and she was looking at me like I woke up and there was a portal in my room, and I was and it was so weird because see, well, you know, even seeing spirits and all, like you, right? You've seen spirits, all that, like, you know, all the things I've seen, and I still got startled because I mean, imagine you wake up and there's someone just like looking at you, and I just put the covers over my head, and I regretted it so much because I was like, why in the hell? It was like once I was like, okay, and I just kind of I was like, why did I do that? I don't, and I fell back asleep. So I don't know what that was about, you know?
We often get looked at as mediums, empaths, healers. We get looked at. I have had so many 4 a.m. visits from random gods. I will get the loud thunder in my ears, and then the door will open, and I see this god walking into my room, and all of a sudden I have sleep paralysis. I can't knock my husband or talk to him, but I
Wow,
have this god standing over me, looking at me, just
wow.
watching. And then after a period of time, they'll go and I'll see these little red embers in the dark of like dissipating energy. And then I
Hmm.
can move again. We're
Wow.
always being looked at, especially people with big jobs. We
Uh-huh.
will be watched.
Why? What is it like? I mean, do they? I mean, I feel like I know the answer to that, but so you've seen them intervene as well, like with
Yes.
okay, and
Yes.
so when they interview, okay, go ahead, go
There's so many gods. Let's
ahead.
get that straight. There's not just one, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Buddhists believe there were over 33 million different deities and gods. And they're right, but the number I tick closest to when I look at that Akashic field is 27 million. So
Oh,
there's some where energies have absorbed and grounded and come back as something different, but there are so many gods and they all have a different vibration.
mm,
There's combative, there's cooperative, there's
wow,
competitive, there's false, right?
wow,
There's positive, there's negative, there's male, there's female. There's so many aspects to all of these deities, and they all want their say in the plan.
really?
Yeah, so
Hmm.
often you will be distracted and swayed, like we are so much right now with the disassociation going on with our connection and being pulled to things that we shouldn't be doing. So we're not actually following our true path and purpose. It's
Absolutely.
going to happen a lot, my friend. And it's your discernment going, okay, this isn't me. I don't really feel like I don't want to do this anymore. This is somebody making me feel this way. I know in my heart that this is my path and purpose. And we got to keep pushing forward.
That just happened to me. That just happened to me. I was literally triggered by something. No, no, and I was like, and I was upset because, you know, like I don't want to say, but I'll just say it like it was during an interview, right? And then someone said,
Yep.
and it, I was like, did it come out because it was something I still need help purging, or was it like that to distract me? Because it made me upset. Like it made me upset. And then I was like, what the hell was that about? And then, you know, and then I even brought it up in my other, and I was like, oh, like, why am I bringing my guest into this crap?
Yeah, I
Like,
hear you.
yeah,
Total distraction. It is a
wow.
total pull down of your energetic vibe. So you were
Mm,
up here and you got pulled down out of your center, the Tao. You got pulled down and now you're down here angry and frustrated. How do we get out of that?
wow.
Oh, my friend, we will always be swayed and pulled by forces that we don't understand when we have a big purpose. And when our light is so big, we are always going to be attacked, shunned, put in a corner, all of it.
So do you feel that when it comes through a person, do they step momentarily into that person? Do they whisper in that person to tell us certain things? Like how do they use other people then?
So true. People will say things to trigger you. That's almost like a transparent, they're being worked through, right?
Mm,
People will say things to trigger you, they will do things to trigger you. I've been in situations where I am going into a session with somebody and we're doing trade. So let's say my girlfriend's doing cranial sacral massage therapy for me and I'm doing a chakra clearing for her.
Mm-hmm.
let's just say. And she'll ask me, who wants to go first? Do you want to go first? And in my head, I'll go, yeah, I think I need to go first. But my mouth says, no, we're doing you first. I'm going, okay, that's the way this is going.
Oh, wow.
So many like varying situations of, yeah, you're going to do what we need you to do, regardless of what you're thinking.
Oh, wow. But that's because like you're being guided, so they always help you stay on the right path, right?
Always, I'd say by the minute, I'm being spoken to, and I listen very closely. If
Okay.
I'm told not to do something, if I was told to cancel this like 2 minutes before we went on, I would have texted you and say, sorry, not coming.
Yeah, yeah,
Very closely do I listen. I
yeah.
always put my neck on that like chopping block, let's say.
Yeah.
I never get chopped, friend.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. I mean, I know throughout my life no, I think for the most part I'll listen. Sometimes I am hesitant for some reason. Like, well, I think that's more of a past thing. Like I gave you the example earlier, like even that, right?
Yep.
Like I would have, like, I drew the line, and as long as they told me, I was like, nah, nothing. I don't care. Nothing's gonna make me like break that, even if my life's on
I
the
hear
line,
you.
kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got you 100%. You know, it's funny since you mentioned that. Like one day that did come to me, and that's when I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know who it was. I've never prayed to them in this life or anything. But
Yep.
the goddess Kali, you know who Kali is? The Hindu goddess. Yeah, she came to. I seen her, like, you know, it was like I seen her in front of me. It was like I wasn't asleep or nothing. But
Yes.
she looked so scary. I was like, no, no, go away. And after no, because then I looked her up. I knew to look her up. I was like, I knew by the way she looked, she was Hindu or something. So I'll put Hindu goddess, and boom, there she was. And it said she's the breaker of obstacles. So it was clear that she had came to help me. I was stuck in something at the moment, and I didn't feel negative energy from her. So I was like, wow. So it showed me, right? I didn't even know who she was, and there she was. So she came to help. So that's why when you're talking about all the different gods, like I've experienced that as well. So that's
Yeah, my friend.
yeah. Have you seen her as
I
well, or?
I have not seen her yet, but I've had many visits from Shiva the Destroyer. Be
Oh,
careful with her.
oh, why?
As many Hindu gods, we have different masks, right? Different faces. So
Ah,
just be careful. It's not all love and light with them. I've
mm,
had a visit from Vishnu, and Vishnu actually very clearly was picking through my aura field, my wings, and picking out things that were attaching to me, was helping me.
oh
And I
wow, okay.
was so grateful for that, like so grateful. Many gods have come to visit me in one form or another, and not all of them for the positive, right? Because they want their plan in play. So you just got to discern and feel it out, really feel it out.
So it's like a whole cosmic. Not is it a war? Like you think that's what it is? More of a war, or just like a play, or how?
Uh, I kind of relate it to a bunch of like high school kids, tit for tat, little competition, little I can do it better than you can. You figure as gods, we figured out the whole ego aspect and how to work together for the communal. Not always the case, my friend.
Hmm.
Not always the case. Um, yeah, I really attribute it to like high school. That's kind of like the vibration. Competitive, tit for tat. I can do this. Well, if you can do this, I can do this. And oh, you're doing this. Let me block it so I can do this.
Yeah, yeah,
Just like a big playing field, truthfully. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And so do you feel any of them are incarnate right now in this earth, or they just come in momentarily to like kind of persuade people to do certain things for them?
There are some gods here incarnate. Absolutely, there. You can see them.
And do they have to go through all the same stuff as us, or can they at any moment just?
They don't have to go through the same stuff as us. There's a reason why there are certain people in the spotlight right now who, no matter what they do, aren't being held accountable, aren't being called out. let's say. You can see that kind of on a global stage. There's certain people who are now like being attacked, like let's say Taylor Swift. She's a super positive, bright energy. She's very positive for the children and all of this, and philanthropist and all of this stuff, right? She gives back constantly, pays everybody very well, all of this stuff. She's a very big light worker in the world, and
Mm,
her messages are through her music.
mhm.
Same with Lady Gaga. You can look at Lady Gaga. When she shaved her head, you can see the cherub angel that she has tattooed on the back of her head. She is an
Oh,
angel here on earth, and she is a messenger direct from God's spirit or source.
interesting.
So we can look at her and we can see why she's on a global stage and why everybody's looking at her,
Mm,
right? So she's kind of like a goddess here on earth a little bit. And then we can look at people like, let's say, Donald Trump, who maybe doesn't have a lot of positive things to say, who maybe is trying to coerce North America into following what he wants and not the greater good. We can kind of see the God vibration from him, right? Because he's on this global stage. He's not being held accountable, whether it's positive or negative. Uh, there's just certain things at play. So we can actually pick out these higher ups in the ether, the universe, the akasha, the quantum field. Let's say we can pick them out and see who's here and their kind of angle.
mm. So when you see something like that, because well, since you brought them up, like you would think that on a human, just normal human stuff, right? Like let's say it was like if I acted the way he acted, and it was like in your house, like you'd probably kick me out of your house, like like that. Some of the things like
100%.
yeah, like he's done right, but yet the way people are, I mean, for the, like not having any other words to say, it's almost like a magic spell. Like the way people are drawn to him, for example, it's like
He is such a combative person.
exactly,
Just
yeah,
gonna say it,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's very combative and in your face and very blunt and forward. And that is a very combative God energy.
Mm.
There's a reason why he's on a global stage. There's a reason why he's such a magnet for those resonating energies. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, no. I mean,
Yeah.
in this world, if you see like chaos draws more attention than like it's
Oh,
weird that
it's such a
yeah,
hive mind.
yeah, yeah. So let's say that since we're here, are we supposed to change that, or are we just supposed to go through the motions, or
That's why we're here, friend. And that's why you see so many people waking up on a collective scale right now.
hmm,
So many people are popping up going, oh, synchronicities. Oh, I'm hearing things. Oh, I see things. Oh,
yeah, yeah,
and we're all
absolutely.
starting to do this on a global scale because World War III is indefinitely very spiritual. And we're trying to combat the swell of this negative, toxic energy and shift things. And we can already see it starting to shift in many ways, right? We're
Yeah.
paying more attention to our environment. We're changing the way we do things on a global scale. Um, and you can see people are starting to make that travel of 18 inches back down to their heart space.
Mm,
It's a long journey, but
absolutely.
we'll all
Absolutely.
get there.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, because I don't want to keep circling through similar things. So is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I want to make sure I give you all the opportunities to share anything else about your journey. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I am just extremely grateful to be here.
No,
I'm
no,
extremely
no,
grateful
Don.
for all the connections that I make and my gifts and my path and my purpose. And I I'm just grateful.
No, absolutely. Oh well, let's just I guess in closing, just a recap of all the services you provide. So if anyone wants to get a hold of you, and I'm gonna put all your information in the description so anyone could get a hold of you.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I offer psychic mediumship services, healing, energy work, psychic surgery, house clearings. all of
Oh.
it. Chakra alignments, clearing, whatever you need. And you can find me on my social medias. Marliana Alisemon Medium is what you can look up. You can go to my website, www.marlianaalisemon.com. And yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. I'm very active. I've got the Spiritual Safehouse podcast that's on all platforms. So I'm very easy to find.
Okay. No, thank you so much, Marliana. It's an honor. Yeah, I feel like I could keep picking your brain, but I don't want to keep you, longer. I don't want to like hold you hostage here and just be like, so, cause yeah. So
Why
thank you
don't we
so.
talk another time? Like,
No,
just have
absolutely.
coffee and have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whenever, whether here or however, like yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I
Cool.
really enjoyed this conversation more than you know. I feel like I needed this, especially with all the energies that have been going on right now. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'm beyond grateful. And yeah, just let me know whenever you wanna, we'll do it again on your podcast. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I think on
I'm
that note,
excited.
on that note, we'll end it because I feel like I'm rambling now.
Sounds good. Thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
having me.
No, the honor was all mine. So, yeah. I guess just if you could send me a photo for the thumbnail, and then that's it. Okay.
You bet.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Life may move fast, story may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One that gets away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is amazing, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.